guys, welcome back to Dimitra's Dishes. So summer is in full swing and we have tons of actually basil and lots of tomatoes. We have different kinds of tomatoes in our backyard. We have these beautiful heirloom San Marzano tomatoes that are all these long, cute little shapes. And we also have lots of cherry tomatoes. And with basil, I'm constantly thinking of recipes to make with like basil and pesto. I love pesto. So I have my pesto recipe on the channel and also on the website www.dimitrasdishes.com. So make sure you get that. So today I'm going to make a tomato and basil tart, and it's really simple, like everything else that I make. Really, really delicious, and it is stunning. It's so beautiful. It's so impressive to take this out and serve it, for friends or family or anybody who's coming over to, have fun and eat and just relax and have a good time at your house. Let me get you over the ingredients. Let's not get you over the ingredients. Let me take you over the ingredients and then we'll get started. So I have some tomatoes that I've sliced in half. The big ones, I just kind of sliced them in a few pieces. I have some Dodonis feta cheese, of course, sheep's milk feta. My favorite kind of feta. I highly recommend that you use it if you can find it. You can also substitute feta for Gouda cheese in this recipe. Gouda cheese is delicious, or any of your favorite cheese, but feta is my favorite, so I'm using that. Feel free to also use goat's milk. Not goat's milk, goat's cheese. Okay, so I have lots of pesto over here. I'm not going to use it all. I may or may not. Let's see. Some olive oil, salt, pepper, dried oregano, some egg wash that I've already made, which is just a combination of egg yolks and milk. You could also use egg yolks and water, and a sheet of puff pastry. So where should I begin? I will begin with my tomatoes. I'm going to just begin. This is really, really simple, you guys. I'm just going to marinate my tomatoes, flavor them a little bit. I'm going to put some olive oil, just a little bit of salt, some black pepper, and oregano. Put oregano in everything. Dried oregano is delicious. I'm just going to mix this all up and leave it on the side because when they go on the tart, they're just going to go on top, and I don't want to pour oil on them at that point or sprinkle more salt and risk the pesto getting extra salty because there's already cheese in that, there's salt. So you just want your tomatoes, you want everything to be flavored before you layer it on. So what I'm going to do now is dust. I keep saying pour. I'm going to dust some all-purpose flour on my board, and I'm also going to flour my rolling pin that I finally brought home. Okay, so now you can definitely just use this whole sheet of puff pastry. Puff pastry is one of my favorite things to work with. If you've been watching my show, you'll know that I make lots and lots of sweet and savory dishes with puff pastry. So it's simple, it's fun to work with, it's really easy. So I'm just going to cut this in half. Now you can definitely just use the whole sheet and make one big tart, but there's something about the smaller version of this that it just looks a million times better. So you use the same amount of ingredients. If you just make two, you can put it on different sides of the table and serve it easier, especially if you're having a bigger group, and it just looks so much prettier. So I'm just going to roll it out just a little bit. I still want to keep that long rectangular shape. I just want to have a little bit more space to put all those delicious ingredients on. This side looks like it needs a little more. Just like that. Now with this tart, the best thing about it is you don't have to worry about putting it in a tart tin or anything like that. What we're going to do is we're going to make a little border. We're going to score this with our knife all around, and this is just going to create a crust. You don't want to go all the way down. You just want to cut like 3/4 of the way through and make a nice border all around, because that's what's going to help the sides puff up and make it look like a beautiful crust. Just like that. And then you want to do what they call dock, which is just poke holes down the center of the pastry. And that's going to help it stay more flat. So that way the inside is flat and holds all the ingredients really nicely. And then the borders just puff up and create a beautiful crust so it can look like a beautiful tart. Okay, at this point, I'm going to get another baking sheet. It's really hard, and I should have done this before. Here we go. Just like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my pesto inside the center of my pastry. It doesn't get easier than this, guys. This is so simple. And wait till you see what it's going to look like when it's ready. I'm going to spread it all out, trying to keep it inside the center right here. I went kind of heavy on the pesto. I love pesto. You can just do a nice thin layer if you wanted to. But more is better when it comes to pesto in my book. But you definitely don't have to put this much as you want. Okay, that's that. And now we're just going to arrange the tomatoes that have been seasoned and dressed with olive oil. Just like that. So I've kept my tomatoes at a nice diagonal. Look at how pretty that looks. Now I'm just going to fill in the gaps with my feta cheese, crumbling it up as I go. Okay, so I'm going to brush my egg wash all around the edges, which is going to be my crust, because I want it to be really, really beautiful and golden. Just like that. My oven is preheated to 375 degrees, and I'm going to make 2 of these because I'm making it for a larger group. I'm going to continue doing the same thing with my other half of my puff pastry, and then I'm going to put it in my oven at 375 degrees, preheated of course, and I'm going to let it bake for about 25 to 30 minutes until it gets nice and golden all around, and my tomatoes are going to be beautifully cooked, and I'll show you what it looks like as soon as it comes out. All right, so my tarts cooked for about 25 minutes. And this is what they look like. They look really beautiful and golden all around. The tomatoes got a little bit wrinkled up, and that's how they should be. And the feta is completely melted. So I'm going to wait for these to cool, and then I'm going to put them on a really nice decorative platter, and I'm going to serve them. So go on the website, www.dimitrasdishes.com. Get this recipe, make it. I'd love to hear your comments. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye, everyone.